Hey, welcome to Discovering More. We're continuing in our series, Celebrate the Journey, as we wrap up your final month of lead pastor ministry here at Peace. 40 plus years, almost 41 here, because you started in July, right?
I started in July of 1985, yeah.
Crazy.
It is crazy.
Crazy stuff. But, to leave a legacy of ministry, that's pretty phenomenal. Too, and to guys, the span of life that you see in a congregation and a community, it's each person's life and calling is unique, but it's a pretty special thing.
Yeah, really, I didn't expect this, but it's a great gift to be able to, minister to multiple generations within a common family. So it's been a great gift to me anyway.
Yeah. Well, I know we talked a little bit about the retirement celebration we had for you and Lynette, and we're just having 350 people gather together to say thank you and enjoy the next season of life. That's a special thing.
It was a great event.
But one of the things that I want to talk about in our message this past Sunday, we talked about the mission work that Peace has done. And to think back over 40 years, I've only been here for a year and a half. I've heard stories and all this. And for me, a couple of the things that really stick out about Peace Church, even as I was beginning the conversations when considering whether to come or not to be pastor here at Peace, one of the cool things that Peace has done over the last couple decades for sure is really invest in the community in unique and new ways. You think about We Care Eau Claire, which has become now its own 501c3, looking to give out backpacks and school supplies to kids in the Eau Claire School District. They have a goal of 1,500 to 2,000 backpacks to give out this year. And that's grown. It started right here at Peace Church as just hey, let's do this for this school and that school, and then you can see what it's become. And honestly, from my perspective, they got the blueprints to ship out to any community that wants to do something similar. They have a really well-oiled machine. And as we got that, you got Collective Arts, which Michael Rambo was here and kind of launched into that. Jill Wentland launched into Rising Hope. Just some mission incubators at Peace that to me has stuck out as people at Peace are invested in going.
Yeah, and that really has continued. I know we have members involved in a whole bunch of community organizations, and some of them are more, specifically Christian in outreach, like Hope Gospel. Some are a little bit more, we want to meet needs, physical needs, places, like Family Promise used to be Beacon House. So yeah, that's been a real. That's just been a real blessing from God over these last couple decades to really develop that.
Mm-hmm. How did you foster a congregation like that?
Well, obviously, I think you preach the word for sure, and then we brought on Pastor James Wadley, who had a lot of energy, for doing outreach, and that got us involved, for instance, in Casas por Cristo. And then you get people. It comes out obviously the Holy Spirit working, but it's also working in people who just get excited about, hey, I've got some gifts here, or this is a cause where I really feel led, and I think there's a permission giving part of that, and I know that if you get into, there's always. People call it, it becomes sort of the politics of church as to where our money goes. Mm-hmm. But I think we've been really pretty good at, when somebody is really invested in something, that, hey, we've got some dollars to help foster that. And so, to a large degree, to me, it's been, occasionally we've been asked, but more often it's been our own members who, in an environment where we're talking about living out your faith, so you could root it back to sanctification. Mm-hmm. But you're talking about living out your faith. Certain individuals who maybe with some leadership gifts really say, hey, yeah, we can do something here.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. One of the things that, we have 20 organizations that we financially support through Peace. And Peace has made the commitment of 10% toward missions from our budget. And so I sent out a survey to all of our financial contributors. And I've heard, I got responses from almost 25% of them about this. And so it's been pretty cool to see them vote and participate in that. And so if you're a financial contributor and you want to share about how you want the dollars that we have here at Peace, the dollars we receive to go, just let us know, and we'll make sure to include you in on that, or look in your email. You should have the email for that.
So you're not going to give us some early returns on that voting?
I mean, it's been, I would say all the ministries have received some votes. Hope Gospel Mission was a big vote getter. Gosh, I'd have to think back. We have 3 categories. We have Love Eau Claire, Sharing Jesus. We have Love Eau Claire, Human Care, and then we have Loving the World. So I would say, like I said, every single ministry has received some votes. I'd have to go back and look and see which have been the highest vote getters. We've also had some new submissions, which has been good too, of other area ministries. So, things worth noting for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. So I came into this conversation with a quote so this is from a Swiss theologian by the name of Emil Brunner, who said that the church exists by mission as a fire exists by burning. So it's sort of part of who God has made the church to be, is that, from the Pentecost on, seeking to share the gospel with an unbelieving world, and, as Jesus did, seeking to meet also physical needs that are present. And the church became known for that, which is the growth was slow if you look at total numbers, but there are folks like, I think it's Rodney Stark, who thinks that there was just this gradual growth.
Yeah.
And I love this is actually another author who, the patient ferment of the early church. It's just a great title. And he outlines what went on as the church was just continually engaged, even when there was persecution, that they were going to seek to reach out with the love of Jesus. That's who we are.
Yeah. Well, that quote made me think of, it's been a while since I've had a science class, so I could be wrong, but I think with electrons, you can either measure their speed or their location, but you can't measure both. Right?
Heisenberg uncertainty principle.
So maybe with the church as well, we need to be moving, and if we spend too much time trying to measure where we are, that means we're not moving. And so kind of having this uncertainty toward it all to say, let's just move.
Right.
And we'll take snapshots at time of where we've been, but let's just keep moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we talked about the Great Commission and anchoring it in the authority of Christ, or the power of Christ, and the presence of Christ. I think so often we don't feel worthy or capable, qualified to go out and actually share. Like, people expect us to pray at gatherings, right? Like, it's like, oh, the pastor's here, we'll have him pray. It's like, well, we're all equipped because we have the call of Christ. Jesus said, I have all the authority, and I'm telling you to go. And that should be enough for us, right?
Yeah.
To be like, okay, well, if Jesus said it, I better do it. But, I think our own inadequacy kind of sometimes creeps in. It's like, well, Jesus called us, and he said at the end of the Great Commission, I'll be with you always.
Right.
He commanded us, and he said he's going with us. So.
Absolutely. So I don't know if you're ready to talk about this, a little bit about a testimony series coming up.
Yeah, so in October, we're really going to focus in on this idea that we have this hope within us as Christians, and the world needs it. So how do we go about actually just beginning to share how God has worked in our lives and verbalizing to other people what our faith means to us? And I think sometimes we just haven't thought through it. And in an age of AI and ChatGPT and all this stuff, we're actually not as good at thinking. Like, it's stealing our thinking capacity. And so even just to sit and reflect, be reflective creatures on how God, it doesn't actually take us that long to think about how our faith has truly changed us. But if we don't take the time to think, to write, to pray, we're not going to have that. But that's actually what people need to know. They don't need us to argue them into what's right and wrong and morality theories, or all that stuff is good. And there's a lot of great arguments. I mean, I think the Christian faith is the most coherent faith out there, but that's not really what we're talking about. It's more, how have you experienced this? Because people can argue the facts, but they can't argue your reality.
Absolutely.
That's the beauty of postmodernism.
Yeah, yeah.
That's using postmodernism against
Right,
itself. People
right.
can argue facts, but they cannot argue your view of reality.
Yeah, nobody's going to say, well, that didn't happen to you, or that's not what you believe, or it didn't matter, you know, so, yeah.
That'll be coming up soon.
Yeah, and to me, it also points to the fact that I believe in that apologetics have an important role to play. I think that the biggest apology, though, for a reason behind our faith is our very lives, in that we become either a magnet that draws people to Jesus, or our lives, in fact, push people away. And so, now obviously, we're not going to be perfect. We're always sinners in need of forgiveness. However, as we spend time with Jesus, we can reflect Him in some really significant ways that draw people to Himself. And I sat and watched a funeral that was live streamed from Minnesota on Friday morning of a former member here, Bob Langer. And his son-in-law, I don't know if I can get this exactly right, but his son-in-law said, unlike a lot of folks who we want to put a little Jesus into our lives, but the son-in-law said what Bob did is that he put his life into Jesus. I would love to have somebody say something like that at my funeral someday.
Yeah.
So, that's quite a testimony. And I think that's a powerful thing that influences those whose lives we touch.
Yeah. Wow. That's a good quote to end with.
It is.
Rest in peace, Bob, and thank you for the witness.
Absolutely.
Your friends and family. But I hope this has been a helpful video for you. Looking forward to just continuing the sermon series, Celebrate the Journey, and celebrating as a congregation this amazing achievement of our congregation, of you and Lynette, and ultimately what Jesus is doing in us and through us.
Have a great week.